Kimi Antonelli becomes the youngest F1 pole sitter across any format after claiming pole position for the Miami sprint race. From Racing News 365, my name is Nick Golding, and I'm delighted to be joined, as always, by lead editor Ian Parks in what I think must be maybe a world's first, doing a video-style interview, Ian. Well, you never know. We can call it a world first. Why not? Because, Ian, do you want to explain where you are?
Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the best backdrops that I think we've ever managed to accomplish on our F1 updates between Nick and myself. Right now, folks, I'm taking what's known as the High Line across the Miami Grand Prix circuit. Directly below me is a sheet of Perspex glass, and you can see through to the ground below. It's pretty much a cable car, and it goes from one side of the circuit across to the other. I've got a part of the circuit just below me. I can just give you a little bit of a glimpse, just turn the camera around there, and you can see the cable cars coming across. You can see part of the circuit down there. So this had to be done. We attempted it last year, but we never quite managed it within the time frame. However, Nick and I thought it's got to be done this year.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're giving you literally a bird's eye view across Miami. There's the Hard Rock Stadium just over there, folks. If we can just catch it there, just turn that around. And yes, wanted something different. This had to be done. Here we are. Hope you enjoy it.
And it feels like quite a poignant day to do it on what is a history-making day in Formula One. Kimi Antonelli, I mean, against all the odds, I don't think anybody predicted he was going to be claiming sprint pole. I mean, a lot of people say, of course, his youngest pole position, the youngest driver to claim pole position. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because he is across any format, but obviously we know it's a sprint race. But nevertheless, Kimi looking really, really good.
Yeah, Sebastian Vettel holds the record, and he still holds the record, of course, because it's the youngest pole position ahead of a Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel, 21 years, couple of months and 7 days, I believe, is that record. Kimi Antonelli, 18 years and 8 months in setting this pole position for the sprint qualifying. So as you say, he's the youngest in Formula One history across any qualifying format to clinch the lead time for a race over a Grand Prix weekend. Sebastian Vettel's record, it's there for the taking for Kimi Antonelli if he can reproduce this at any stage, any Grand Prix over the course of the next couple of years. But boy, as you say, Nick, no, I don't think anybody could have predicted this. Mercedes were strong in practice, and then they were also strong in SQ1. George and Kimi led the way in that session. But then came the McLarens in SQ2, and we thought, here we go. It's going to be a Lando Oscar show. Which one of them is going to get pole position? But no, SQ3, Max Verstappen initially on that pole position, as we say. Then George Russell, beaten by 0.3 of a second. Max stayed out on his set of soft tyres. Now, you're only allowed one set of softs in the session. Max stayed out, and he then netted the fastest time again. But then came Kimi Antonelli, grabbed that top spot, but we always thought behind him with Oscar and Lando. Are they going to set the pace? First Oscar, then Lando. No, they didn't. Kimi Antonelli setting that fastest time. Wow, what a reaction in the Mercedes garage. Toto Wolff clenched fists. Andrew Shovlin, of course, for a long time. Sorry, not Andrew Shovlin. Pete Bonington for a long time. Lewis Hamilton's race engineer. The smile on his face when Kimi Antonelli set that pole position today was a joy to behold. That said everything.
And obviously, as you mentioned there, it was Oscar in second, Lando in third. In the end, neither McLaren driver having an answer for Antonelli, but nevertheless, as expected, the McLarens are right up there at the top.
Yeah, for Oscar in particular, he knows that he's got a good pace advantage. But what can Kimi do from that pole position? Will he be able to hold off the McLaren duo behind him? Max Verstappen at the moment starting on 4th position on the grid. So he, you could assume, could also challenge. So it's all to play for Kimi Antonelli. It really is a magical moment for him. Now, can he complete the double? Can he go on to seal victory from pole position? It is going to be a tough answer because he's got those fast charging McLarens behind him. It should be a fascinating sprint, so make sure you watch it, folks, because we've got I can't believe that we're talking about this. That this is really quite something special that Kimi Antonelli has done in his rookie year to do this. We knew he got talent. It's been spoken of so highly by Mercedes all the way through, but to do this at such a young age, absolutely brilliant stuff. And I'm so looking forward to this Grand Prix, this sprint race now. Can he go on and repeat it in qualifying as well? Who knows? But nevertheless, we've got a great talking point. The McLarens, as we say, going to be coming up behind him. Kimi's got a lot of work to do. We know he's still a young driver at the end of the day. Can he hold off the McLarens? It's going to be absolutely fascinating watch, that's for sure.
Absolutely, for certain. Just to quickly go through the provisional top 10 on the grid for the sprint race on Saturday. It is Kimi Antonelli on sprint pole, ahead of Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Alex Albon, Isaac Hadjar, and Fernando Alonso in P10. Max Verstappen, of course, being the one there, which is making it provisional, because, of course, he is, at the timing of this recording, still under investigation for something during SQ2 in terms of exceeding the maximum delta lap time, ignoring the race director's instructions. All a little bit up in the air, it seems, and nobody really knows quite what penalty there's going to be for this.
Now, it could be no further action. It could be a warning.
Yeah.
It might just be a grid penalty. Who knows? But as you say, Nick, due to time constraints, we're having to get this video done.
Yeah.
And we will keep people updated, of course. There will be a little line associated with the video. Yeah. Should the video be finished, and we have to get it online on YouTube, of course. But as I say, we will put a strap somewhere across the web page to let people know what has happened to Max Verstappen, should they be watching this ahead of any verdict.
Because at the moment, there's a very good chance it is at the moment 1:10 in Central Europe, just gone midnight in the UK. So who knows? People might be waking up to seeing the news of what's happened to Max. And of course, congratulations, of course, to Max and Kelly announcing the birth of baby Lily, which is amazing news. So congratulations to the pair of them. And of course, Ian, you know, it's delight for one Italian on pole position. In terms of the Italian team in Ferrari, not so much. And well, their lack of pace continues.
Ferrari, yes, but neither Charles Leclerc nor Lewis Hamilton, as you can imagine, particularly happy given their grid slots. Bearing in mind that we thought, are we going to see anything from Ferrari? We know they were strong in the sprint qualifying in China. I'm just going to twizzle this a little bit because I'm getting blinded by the sun as we go back now. So we've done one saw, we then turn around and we head back towards the starting position. So just need to give myself a little bit of a better view rather than being blinded by the sun. Yes, as I was talking about there, Nick, the Ferrari's not happy at all. As I mentioned, in China, Lewis Hamilton on sprint pole, from which he then went on and clinched that victory. Since then, Ferrari has really struggled. We thought there might be an opportunity after what we saw in Jeddah at the last Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc taking third place in the Grand Prix there. There was a little bit of an uplift, but so far, from what we've seen, this Ferrari is really struggling around this circuit. And as mentioned, neither Charles nor Lewis very happy, at all happy going into these Saturday sprints. And you would assume on the back of that, it could well be a struggle going into the Grand Prix on Sunday as well.
And I can bring you some breaking news whilst recording this,
here we go.
Breaking news because the Max Verstappen verdict is in, and the decision is a reprimand to the team. No real penalty as such, so he will remain in P4. There is a massive explanation as to why it's being a reprimand, which you can find over at Racing News 365. So the top 10 is no longer provisional. Happy days, of course. That makes our lives a hell of a lot easier. Ian, just to finish things off, though, something. Yeah, just to finish things off, one driver who was very, very unhappy with something that happened in the first part of sprint qualifying was Jack Doohan, eliminated in the first part. And it's fair to say his temper got the better of him a little bit over the radio.
Oh, yes, he was not a happy bunny at all, was he, Nick? Because as soon as he got back to the garage after that first session of qualifying, he let his team have it pretty much with both barrels, describing the strategy that they deployed during SQ1 as unacceptable and a joke. even after he'd been allowed to calm down and he did his interview in the pen and the TV pen afterwards, he still was not happy, describing it as a mess up. So we toned down things a little bit, but nevertheless, not happy bunny at all. Basically, what transpired is that in SQ1, ahead of the second flying that, it should have been that Pierre Gasly, his teammate, should have gone a little bit ahead of him and then Jack directly behind. However, they were both released at the same time. In doing so, just as Jack was about to go on the pit lane, the caught Pierre's eye line, had to stop. And of course, that meant then that he was in such a position, his turning circle was compromised, his pit crew had to come back and wheel him back into the pit box. That then allowed the other cars that were due to be behind Jack going out onto the track, all were allowed to go in front of him. It meant Jack was last onto the circuit, and in the end, he was unable to set that second flying back. That's heavily compromising, couldn't get into SQ2. And as mentioned, he was not a happy bunny, giving his team a bit of a rollicking over the radio, describing it, as I say, as a joke for what unfolded. I'm sure everything will all have been explained to Jack. I'm sure there's been an apology from the team as well for the mess up, as Jack described it, that unfolded. Nevertheless, he starts 17th on the grid. Yeah, Gasly, in fairness, not that too far ahead of him because he was unable to extract too much additional pace in SQ2. I think about 3 or 4 places, Nip, if I remember right. If you just have a quick look at your grid slots.
I can have a quick look.
Just very quickly, it was from roll.
Well, you can even discuss if you want to Yuki Tsunoda, because he joined Jack Doohan and going out in SQ1.
Exactly, because yes, another situation there. Yuki Tsunoda had a poor opening lap in SQ1, and as he was embarking and coming towards the end of his SQ2 time, he came across his teammates. I think it was in the final corner, if I remember rightly. Yeah. And it looked like Max was trying to get out of the way to allow Yuki through, but Yuki, of course, felt a little bit compromised, unsure by what Max was trying to do ahead of him. That cost Yuki a lot of lap time. And in the end, Yuki starts P18. So yes, neither Yuki Tsunoda nor Jack Perdue, that's amazing. Well done, Ian. Jack Doohan. Either of those drivers particularly happy with what unfolded in SQ1.
And Pierre Gasly is 4 places ahead of Jack Doohan. So there's your answer. 4 places. Ian, amazing stuff as always. Enjoy your ride. For those who've been watching this video, please do, not too long, please do smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join Ian and I after the sprint race and the normal qualifying. Will it be Kimi again? Let's see on Saturday. See you later.
As always, take care, folks. Hope you enjoyed this one, given the very special view that's been in the background.